You just keep coming up with new boxes of frogs, don't you?
Yeah, you're doing the you're doing the raffle a little bit later on, right? When you do the raffle, I'm going to leave you these frogs up here so you can raffle these off too.
Not the smoke ones though, right?
You get this. I told you get the smoke one.
Okay, good. My favorite color. All right, guys. Unfortunately, Stacy and I, Bobby's wife, were talking about what we did last night. You know, there was a time when we were all running around fishing tournaments and doing promotions and shows and stuff that we would have some great stories to talk about. You know, we went out and saw, 2:30 in the morning pretty well, and we partied it up. Unfortunately, we've been doing this game for a few too many years, and I think Bobby and I were both watching ESPN by about 9:30 last night, so it was to see the direction we're headed. But Bobby and I have been playing this silly game for a long time. And I get to hang out with him a lot in Northern California because we do a lot of the same shows. A few shows down here in Southern Cal, Long Beach together. But it's fun to get our type of fishing, frog fishing, the Delta, Clear Lake, where we're throwing that bait. I get to come down here and talk to you about it. And it's not just for the Delta, it's not just for Clear Lake. Bobby's going to tell you how you can catch them on your lakes down here on a frog as well. And the other thing is Bobby helps put together what I consider one of the most fun tournaments we get to fish every year. It's got a low entry fee. It's a great event, and you come to the California Delta the first weekend in August. First Saturday and Sunday in August, there's two divisions. There's a pro division and a semi-pro division. $200, $100 entry fee. And the only thing you can throw for 2 days on the Delta is a frog. Snag-proof open. We have a blast, 200 and some boats, barbecue, Russo's Marina. It's really a lot of fun. So you guys need to, hang out on Bobby's Facebook page, the Snag-proof page, my radio page, and we'll get you guys tuned in with that and remind you about it. But the Snag-proof open, guys, find a partner, drag your boat up, and come hang out with us. It's a blast. It's a good time up there. Bobby has won Angler of the Year titles, he's won tournaments, he's won boats, he's done all of it, but his biggest claim to fame, obviously, is what he's done in designing the Snag-proof frog, Bobby's Perfect Frog, and really mastered it. He's caught more fish on a frog than anybody I know, and I hate it when he tries to come down here and teach you guys how to fish a frog, because I'd like to keep some of his tricks to myself, but he's going to pass them all on to you guys. Please welcome Bobby Barrack.
All right. Thank you, Kent. Yeah. Thanks, Kent. That's awesome. Just like Kent was saying, we all think of the frog and it's heavy vegetation, heavy mats, matted grass, and there's so many times where I get guys that come up to me and they'll say our frog bite wasn't very good last summer, or our frog bite hasn't been very good for the last 2-3 years because we haven't had any mats. That's fine. I throw my frog on mats like 20% of the time. That's it. The other 70-80% of the time, I'm throwing it in open water. Open water is the way to maximize this bait right here. This, as far as I'm concerned, this is, with this guy right here, I'm a topwater junkie, always have been. The Zara Spook, the original Zara Spook, before the original Zara Spook, before they turned it into, with rattles in it and put the third hook on it and they extended it just a little bit. The old school original Zara Spook, right? Greenback, had the glitter on the sides. It looked like something that was made in kindergarten class, right? That was my favorite color Zara Spook, right? The original Zara Spook had that green head, it looked like it got in a fight and got punched in the eye. It had black eyes. It was awesome. I loved that thing. Clear water, dingy water, didn't matter. Didn't have any rattles, had 2 hooks on it. I didn't know for a period of time that you had to take the hooks off, throw them away, and put some upgraded hooks on that thing. As the years went by, we figured that out. But the Zara Spook, the walk the dog action, whether it's a largemouth bass, a peacock bass, a striped bass, big red ear, I don't care. Anything that eats on the surface, the prime members of every species that feeds off of the surface, they love that walk the dog action. So the beauty of the frog, not only can you throw the frog in heavy matted vegetation, the beauty and the reason that I came up with the Bobby's Perfect Frog over a period of time, lots of R&D, is because I get Xerospook action out of this bait in open water. I can throw this bait right here where I always dreamed of being able to throw a Xerospook. When I was 17, 18, 19 years old, 20 years old, there were so many times where God, I wish I could get my spook in there. I can't. So I got to throw short of the target. You got some vines, you got some brush hanging over. I don't care if you're at Elephant Butte Lake in New Mexico, where you've got this one vine, this one tree that's hanging over the... Chances are, as the sun comes up and there's some shade underneath that thing, that's where your bait needs to be, in that shade pocket of that thing that's hanging over the surface. It's real hard if you're not a master caster to get your Xerospook or that bait, that popper, that pop-R, whatever it may be. It's hard to get that topwater bait in there without getting it hung up. That's where the hollow-bodied frogs really excel. I figured this out a long, long time ago with this guy. Back when I used to sneak into some reservoirs around the Union City, Fremont area, there's 13 quarries that we weren't supposed to be in. If it had a fence around it and it said no trespassing, no fishing, that was my new favorite fishing hole. That's where I'm going. And we're going to get bit, and we're going to catch some good ones. I always made sure in the beginning, before I started the snag-proof thing, love affair and all that kind of stuff, I used to use a Bill Plummer Super Frog. I don't know if you guys even know what that is. It was back in long, long time ago. Stole it out of my dad's lime green Plano tackle box. And it was right next to the Daredevil spoon with the red with the white thing in it, and it was next to the rooster tails and the Mep spinners. And there's this goofy frog, and it had this wire weed guard down there. And in duckweed and in this like real weird green stuff that grew on these ponds that we've... Ohlone College, it was a community college, right off of Mission Boulevard in Fremont, California. The cafeteria is right there. The security guard always sits right over there, and he's always reading the Argus or the Daily Review. That's when we would make our move. We'd go under the willow tree that hung over right over here, and we'd get about 4 or 5 throws in from the willow tree. We could almost reach the other side of the pond. And we get 2 or 3 before our cover was blown and we got kicked out again. On our way out, on the way down, there's another little pond down there surrounded by tules that we had to throw over the top of the tules to get it into matted duckweed all the way around this. We'd catch 2 fish, 3 fish, it was over. They were always 3 to 4 pounders. It was so awesome. When you're 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, this is the pinnacle of bass fishing. This is awesome. I caught some bass on a topwater lure in full-blown camo like I'm Rambo, bass fishing, trying not to get caught. It was the greatest deal there ever was at that time. It's evolved into this right here. The snag-proof frog, when I first started using it, it had some thighs on it. One of the big problems with the original frog that I started throwing was with those thighs, occasionally I would, I'd throw it out there, ooh, you get the big bite, you swing, she's coming, and she comes off. And as far as I'm concerned, when you're throwing a hollow-bodied frog, you throw it over there, twitch, ooh, you get the bite, you swing, and your rod loads, that's a caught fish. That should be a caught fish. But I was finding that 1 or 2 out of 10 bites that I had where my rod loaded, or some really giant special fish. I remember one fish in Disappointment Slough. That was the kicker. That was the one that made me, I got to figure this out. It was Disappointment Slough. It was right on the high switch. It was right on the high turn. You got a 15, 17, 20-minute window right there to catch the biggest bass in this slough if you're in the right place and you make the right throws. That's how the Delta works. That's how all bass fishing works. It's all salooner. I'm where I need to be, right on the switch. I make the pitch, twitch, ooh, big fish, giant fish. I swing, I get about right here, rod loads. Big ones always give you one good head shake, and then they dig. And she digs, and I see how the height of this fish, as it's probably a teen fish. And she digs like that, and she comes off, and I go, no! It was on a black frog with black and yellow legs. I pull that frog back. It's hard for you guys to see. But anyway, this bait is kicked like this. And my hook, my bait comes back crooked. The hook is through. I can't do it with this because it's perfect. The thigh of the frog is on one of the hooks. I've got no chance. I've got a 50% chance of catching this bass. The bass, this is the one I've been fishing for since I was 12. And I just had this fish on and I blew it. It wasn't mechanics. I was squared up, boom. Everything's money. Equipment failure. I can't have that. It's like trying to play football with a flat football. You can't do this. If it's something I did mechanically, whatever, I'll get it fixed. But when it's an equipment failure, a guide pops off, your line breaks, your reel, you haven't greased it, you haven't oiled it, so you can't make that 27-yard throw. You can only go about 18 effect. That's on you. Those are intangibles that you need to fix, you need to control in your garage so it doesn't happen out in the field. I've got everything right, but I have an equipment failure, doesn't allow me to catch the bass of a lifetime. That feeling of elation and then, I went to the pinnacle and then I was down here and it's like, I cannot believe that bass was that, she was all like 30 inches long and she was like that tall. What did this thing weigh? I don't know. It was a giant. I need to go back to the drawing board and figure out how I can make sure that I don't want to have that feeling anymore. First thing that I do, clip the thighs off. Pull the skirt out, clip the thighs off. I got to get rid of those thighs. I got to keep the water from going into the frog and making it sink. So I'm going to put another tube on the other side. I'm going to cinch them up, throw it in the water. Oh, that doesn't work out too good. I got to crazy glue that. Okay, good. Boom. That was the first Bobby's Perfect Frog. That was back in 1992, 93. Did it like that for a long time. And then I would have Connie from Snag Proof. I would say, hey, Connie, can you just send me my frogs without the skirts in them, without them put together? And then, because I clip the thighs, I take the rattles out. I clip the thighs, pull the skirt out, and then I put everything back together again. Well, anyway, she sent me some frogs, a couple of my favorite colors. She sent them to me. They were all put together. And I called her up and I said, hey, all my frogs were put together. Can you not put them together, blah, blah, blah. She goes, you know what, Bob, why don't we just make the frog that you throw? So they did. And in, I think it was 2000, about 99, 2000, 2001, whatever it was, Bobby's Perfect Frog hit the market, and then the rest of the frog industry copied it. And they all came out with their version of their frogs. So that's why all the frogs that you see on the market nowadays, they don't have any thighs on them, very small thighs, because we don't want that hook. A lot of times when that bass comes through, she might, back in the day when they had the bigger thighs on the back, they would, sometimes that big lip would hit that thigh and push it over on top of that hook point. Now you got a 50% chance of catching that bass. That's why it is currently designed and built the way it is. Most of the frogs that you see, all the frogs that you see on the market now, that's why they are the way they are, okay?